much money do you need to retire? Well, a recent survey done by Northwestern Mutual surveyed Americans, and they said they need $1.25 million to retire comfortably. $1,250,000 in retirement savings to retire comfortably. And what age do those Americans think they can retire? 64 years old. That's actually up 2 years from the previous survey where many Americans said they could retire at 62. We're going to test those assumptions. We're going to do the calculations on the board here in just a second. But $1.25 million in retirement savings is what the average American believes they need to retire comfortably. That's up 20% from the survey done just 12 months ago. High inflation, volatile markets, not really understanding what the future holds has caused many Americans to increase the amount that they think they need saved for retirement and elongate their time in the workforce. The survey also revealed that the average retirement savings for individuals has fallen to $86,000 from $98,000. That's an 11% decline. And a recent survey also says that many individuals, 63%, are stopping or slowing down, lowering their 401k and IRA contributions. You do not want to do that. So let's go to the board. Let's do some calculations on exactly how you can determine how much you need to retire. All right, how much do you need saved for retirement to retire at 64? Well, a recent survey says that most Americans believe that they're going to need $1.25 million and they can't retire until they're 64 years old. So we're going to put that survey to the test, and we're going to look at the average expenses for a 64-year-old in retirement. We're going to take Social Security at 64, so the average Social Security at 64, and we're going to see how long this money lasts. Does what America say actually work? Will you run out of retirement income? So let's look at this. I've got a 64-year-old individual, doesn't matter if they're male or female. We've got $57,000 in average expenses. That is an average number for retirees at age 64. Now, we're going to give that a 3% inflation rate. So the 108-year average for inflation is 3.24%. The 10-year average is about 1.8%. But we all know that inflation is here to stay at least for the next 3 to 5 years. And so we're going to put a 3.24% inflation rate on those average retirement expenses. So $57,000 is going to grow by 3% every year, meaning this individual needs $57,000 minus their Social Security to live off of, and that money is going to come out of their retirement investments. Now, those investments are going to stay in the stock market or in some sort of investment, and we're going to give it a very low rate of return. And the reason I want to do such a low rate of return is because most Americans believe the stock market over the next 10 years is going to return somewhere between 4 and 6%. So we're going to go on the low end to see, hey, if we retire at 64 with $1.25 million and we earn 4%, will our money last? So our rate of return is going to be 4%. So that's how much our money is going to make in the stock market. Now, if we don't run out of money making 4% a year, that means we don't have to take the amount of risk to get 8, 9, and 10% per year. That's just a little tidbit for you. So, rate of return on our retirement assets is going to be 4%. We're going to put 3% inflation. So that $56,000 is going to grow by 3% every year. So our expenses are $57,000 a year, and our inflation, or our Social Security, is $1,600 per month. So at 64, $57,000 in expenses, coming out annually with Social Security of $1,600 a month, we are actually out of money at 100. So America, you are correct. 1.25 million at 64 is a good number if your expenses are the average American expenses, which is $57,000. Now, at 85, there was $1.2 million in this portfolio still. Inflation just really starts to eat away at 85. Now, the average life expectancy for people today at 64 is somewhere between 82 and 85. So this is a really good scenario. So if you are coming closer to retirement, if you're one of those Americans that think, hey, I need 1.25 million to retire comfortably, and your retirement expenses are somewhere between 50 and 60,000, you're going to retire at 64, you are in a good place. Now, let's look at one of my personal clients retiring at 64, and let's look at where she's at. All right, let's look at one of my personal clients, and they're asking, hey Drew, I'm 64, can I retire? Now, the survey from Northwestern Mutual said that most Americans believe they can retire at 64 years old if they have $1.25 million. And we just showed in a previous scenario that that is correct. So Cindy is asking, can I retire? How much do I need? So let's go through that. So Cindy's 64, okay, she lives down here in Florida. She lives in Palm Harbor, Florida, and her expenses on an annual basis are $60,000 a year. So that means she would need $60,000 in retirement income every year. Now, that's going to get an inflation adjustment of 3% on an annual basis. Her Social Security, were she to claim at 64, is $1,300. And she currently has $800,000 in retirement assets. So, when we do the planning, $800,000 is not enough money. She's actually out of money about 82 years old. So when I was talking to Cindy, I said, okay, Cindy, we need to look at adjusting a few things. We either need to adjust our expenses or our retirement age, or we need to grow our assets. So for her, her expenses are pretty much locked in. Because of the home market here in Florida, she is locked in where she is at. So her expenses are going to stay at $60,000 annually plus inflation. The things that she can control are retiring later, taking Social Security later, and continuing to save and invest. So I said, okay, Cindy, let's just get a number that we can shoot for to retire whenever you decide to do that. So we want to use the same rate of returns that we used in the last scenario. So her money's going to grow at 4%. And the reason we're using 4% is because we want to be very, very conservative. I don't want to do anything to overshoot her retirement journey, because her confidence, her trust is in me to get her to retirement, to get her through retirement, and protect her ability to stay in retirement, which is why when we do this scenario, we have done this in the financial EKG software. So I know down to the penny how much money Cindy needs to retire. Now, inflation is going to be 3%. So we're going to use inflation of 3%. Her expenses are $60,000 annually, and those are growing by 3% every year. Now, she is new to her home, so her mortgage will not be paid off until she's in her late 80s, okay? So, $60,000 annually plus inflation is going to be there for the foreseeable future. So when we do the calculations on the calculator and in the software, we come up with this number. This is how much she needs to have $0 at 100. $1,400,000 $35,374. So that is the number that she needs to shoot for. Now, here's the thing. The longer Cindy works, the closer she gets to 70, the higher this Social Security is going to grow, the less we're going to need in retirement savings. This is saying basically, if you want to retire in the next 12 months, that's how much you're going to need. For her, that's not going to happen. So we need to look at adjusting some of the other aspects of her retirement. Now, this is not to degrade her savings or to make her feel incompetent. We're just trying to get a good number and a realization that we don't want to go into retirement and run out in our late 80s. I don't want you to have to go back to work at 88 years old, okay? So I hope this has helped you understand exactly how much you need to save for retirement and making sure that you have a good number and confidence going into your retirement journey. So thank you so much for watching. God bless. Bye-bye.